Hi, good morning. Good morning, girlfriends. Bria here. I just wanted to get on today. Instead of interviewing a guest, I just wanted to talk myself and just kind of catch everybody up on what I've been doing. Instagram, you'll see me looking that way because I'm actually doing the Facebook Live. So, but I thought I could go ahead and broadcast it on Instagram Live as well at the same time. So, anyway, welcome you guys. Um, Self Love September for me was important. I actually blogged about it on my website, and you guys could take a look. It's thegirlfriendgatherings.com. But I have been studying a ton of Louise Hay lately. And if you don't know who Louise Hay is, she started Hay House, which is the largest personal development publisher in the world. And they publish books by like Wayne Dyer and Iyanla Van Zandt and Doreen Virtue, who's known as the Angel Lady. Like they just tons. Gabrielle Bernstein. So if you're not familiar with them, they're probably most of the books I read they publish because I read a lot of personal development books. And so I've been studying her a lot lately and watching a lot of her lectures. Recently, I read her book, You Can Heal Your Life Again, and watched I had a DVD that came with it in a pack when I bought the book. And so I just been studying a lot of her. And I found out she used to be with the religious science church. And I think now they're called Center for Spiritual Living or something to that effect. But she was a spiritual counselor. And so she used to counsel people on certain problems that they would come to her with that they were having. And somewhere during her time as a counselor, she discovered that if people just learn to love and accept themselves, then their problems kind of just corrected themselves. They took care of themselves. And so I thought that was interesting. So I kind of started following a lot of her work where she does mirror work. She has a book called Mirror Work, which is kind of you affirming yourself while looking in the mirror. So I did that process and just a lot of different things that she recommends. I listened to a lot of her meditations, and I noticed I had similar experiences where my all my perceived problems just kind of started correcting themselves. So I was like, wow, this stuff, it really, really works. And I didn't even think that I didn't love myself or didn't love myself as much as I should. I knew I could get depressed sometimes. I, in the past, have suffered from uh, Horton syndrome, which is where you get cluster headaches episodes. And it is very, very painful. They nickname them suicide headaches because a lot of people who experience them commit suicide. It's supposed to be like the worst physical pain a human being can experience. I know a lot of people say labor is. I haven't had kids, so I can't attest to that. But some of the cluster headache sufferers who have had kids said cluster headaches were way worse. And I think it's because you experience that pain at a constant for 3 or 4 hours with no break, as opposed to like you'll have a contraction and then you'll have a few minutes in between the contraction or whatever. And with the cluster headache, there is no in between. So I would say, like, if you think of it as if you are a mother and you have had kids, the worst labor pain you had and just holding it for 3 or 4 hours and that pain being in your head behind your eye, then that's what a cluster headache would feel like. So, anyway, I started getting them in about 2013, and I was misdiagnosed for a long time. Like typically, because when they hit, it is no driving to the hospital or anything. I just because I can't do it, the pain would be so intense. So I would go to the hospital afterwards, and I remember like this resident telling me, "Oh, it's just a nerve. It's probably just a nerve. Nothing you could do about it." And she gave me like a prescription for some kind of painkiller for when I got them again, which of course never helped. So it wasn't until I found my neurologist, and actually even before I found him, I had kind of went on the internet myself and looked up all my symptoms. So I had kind of self-diagnosed myself and found that was what it was. So when I went to the neurologist, I told him, I was like, I think I kind of self-diagnosed myself. And he's like, okay, well, let me go through and see. And he kind of confirmed that I was right, and it was cluster headaches that I was suffering. So that was such a relief to me, because I finally found somebody who knew what I was going through and could actually help. So he prescribed me these injections, like I can't remember exactly what they are, succinate injections of some kind. And if I like injected myself at the onset of them, the headache would go away in like 15-20 minutes. So that was like the first year. So that was fine. The next year, when I had my episode, the succinate injections stopped working. They were actually causing horrible rebound headaches, which seemed like they were almost worse than the cluster headaches themselves. So I kind of dealt with that and left them alone. And then it's just, it's hard to really describe. I haven't had an episode in over a year. I hope to never have one again. And I feel this year I'm not going to have one at all, because I used to get them at the change of a season, like either spring or fall. And usually, so we're at mid-September now. If I got the fall one, it would come around the beginning of September. So I'm feeling like very good that I won't have one this year. But in addition to the physical pain that you experience with one headache lasting 3 to 4 hours, um, at worst, I would get 3 to 4 a day in my worst episode. Most of my episodes were only one a day, thank God. But I've had experience somewhere I got 3 or 4 a day. In addition to that physical pain of it, it is a lot of emotional pain as well, because it's like a loneliness and a despair that is you can't, it's hard to explain, because it's such a rare condition. Most people have never heard of it. None of my family or friends were experiencing it. So when they're asking me, hey, did you get a diagnosis? What's going on? They only think of migraines as like the worst headache. So I would take 10 migraines over one cluster headache anytime. And so you're telling them you have something called cluster headache, and then they're like, oh, you should just have sex and things like that, as if that's even. So it's just a lot of ignorance around it, because people aren't familiar with it, because it's so rare. So you really feel like you're truly, truly alone in your pain. And then it's like a despair and kind of a dread, because even when you finally get to the place where it's over, it's like same time tomorrow. And that's if you're lucky enough to have one a day. So it was just a lot that I went through emotionally as a result of that. I also, in 2014, I lost my father very, very unexpectedly, my biological father. Um, he just died very suddenly from a blood clot, and he was only 59. So it just kind of like a gut punch where it just shocked the whole family. I was his only child. So that was a lot. I never had to like plan somebody's funeral myself. I've had other relatives that died, like my grandparents or my aunt, and who I had helped with their funeral. But this is kind of the one where the decisions were on me, because I was his only child. So that was hard. And then it was kind of a situation where he kind of took my grandparents were divorced, so he kind of took care of his father, and his sister kind of took care of his mother. So then when he died, I tried to step up and help take care of my grandfather so that, my aunt didn't have so much on her by herself. And so that was hard because my grandparents lost their son. My father died before either one of his parents. So they were going through a lot emotionally as well. And eventually my grandfather became sick and ended up in the hospital and then in hospice. And he died about 14 months after my dad. And then in the past year and a half, I've lost two of my aunts. One to lupus and another to, like, she had like a freak accident in the bathroom. And so it's just been kind of a lot of things I was going through the past few years that really took a toll kind of on my self-esteem or self-love, and I hadn't even kind of realized that I was kind of depressed. I mean, I had been diagnosed with depression before. Sometime around when this was happening in 2014, I started to see um, a psychologist, and she diagnosed me with depression and ADHD. But she put me on, I think it was Wellbutrin and whatever, and it just made me loopy. It didn't really help. I felt like it was dangerous because I would take it and I would be at work and I couldn't really concentrate. And I was in a plant at the time. So it's like, it's not the kind of place you want to be walking around kind of in a daze. So I stopped taking it. And I've been just kind of working to get back my health, mental and physically, naturally. So anyway, that's a little bit about my past few years and why I felt like self love was important. Um, I had originally started the girlfriend gatherings back in 2011, and I was holding like events and classes and workshops in person in the whole metro Detroit area. And when I started having my health issues, because just before my cluster headaches started, I was getting pancreatitis. And then, too, our Michigan winters here are kind of very unpredictable. So it was hard to do events in the winter because, weather permitting, we may have to cancel or postpone. And then I had a lot of women that I knew around the country like, oh, I wish I could attend that. And so that kind of gave me the idea to move the company to like a virtual company. And so I had the idea first a few years ago, and I had started doing it, and I did like one or two classes or events for a while. And then with the health issues and the personal issues that came up, I had to kind of take a break from it. So I wanted to relaunch, and we did September 1st. It's kind of like a soft launch. It's not the big rollout just yet because I'm still tweaking a few things and changing a few things and seeing what works. But I wanted to start with Self Love September because I just know how much focusing on self love has helped me, especially this past year and with all the Louise Hay things that I've been studying. So, anyway, just wanted to catch you guys up on what I'm doing. I kind of wrote a little blog about it that's on my website. Again, that's thegirlfriendgatherings.com. The website is up and it's viewable. I'm still adding things to it and we're still working on the back end of it, but it is a lot of information there that you can find about what we're doing. Sorry about that. Also, for these Facebook Lives we've been doing, I've been downloading the videos and putting them on the YouTube channel. And you can get those links from the website. And I've also been ripping the audio out and putting it in a podcast. And right now, the podcast is available on Anchor, Breaker, Google, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Spotify, and Stitcher. Still waiting for iTunes and a few of the other platforms to accept it. But as soon as those are updated, the website will be updated. So you can just click the listen tab on the website and you can find where you can listen to the podcast if you're not able to watch the lives. This is third Self-Love Saturday we've done because it's the third Saturday in September. We're going to continue on through the month of September. I'm going to continue doing the lives in October. I'm not sure what subject I want to focus them around yet. I thought I could have a different theme every month. And so, yeah, keep checking the website because they keep adding stuff. I wanted to have a cocktail of the month or an adult tasty beverage of the month. And I actually do have one for September. I'm going to put the picture up and also the recipe. My cousin Kalina, she's a very creative bartender slash makeup artist slash Mrs. Fix It slash she could do anything. She actually developed a drink for me. So I'm just waiting for her to send me the exact measurements. And so I can try it and then put it up on there. And then we'll be doing that every month. Because I am on a path to, healthy living and being better, but I still love my cocktails. So I have one every occasionally. I don't drink every day or anything like that, but I do like my tasty beverage every once in a while. And funny enough, I find that I meditate a whole lot easier if I'm a little bit tipsy. I know that sounds crazy, but it's really, really true. My meditations are just deeper and everything. So I know when I get anxiety or a little anxious, or it's harder for me to focus. I guess that's that ADHD I was diagnosed with. In the past, my good friend David, he owns, it's like an alternative mental health center, so to speak. And it's lots of different services in there to help people who overcome stress and anxiety, things like that. So a couple years ago, he got a float tank, and I was going there and I was floating a couple times a week. And for those of you who are not familiar, it's like a sensory deprivation tank where um, you're floating in water that has like 1,000 pounds of salt in them, Epsom salt. So it makes you very buoyant, so you can float very easily in the water, and it's made to like skin temperature. So I noticed when I was doing the floating in the float pod, I could get my meditations were easier and things like that. So I decided for this month, actually probably in a couple days, I'm going to do like a 30-day float challenge because my friend David, last year or the year before, he kind of talked about how he did float in 30 days in a row and just what an amazing experience it was for him. So I decided that I'm going to do it too. So I'm not sure when I'm going to start. It'll be in the next couple days, but I'm going to chronicle it on Instagram and probably YouTube. And I'll probably put something on the website so you can follow my journey as I'm floating every day. But it's really an amazing experience. I don't know where you guys are listening from, but if you want to check out if there are any float centers in your area, whether it be a pod or in a room. Actually, since then, David has upgraded his website, his business, and he moved to another facility where he has float in rooms. Hey, Charlene, my cousin's on. Charlene, I go to, it's called Inception, and it's in Farmington Hills. My friend David owns it, and he has float rooms there. So if you ever want to come, let me know. He always has discounts and stuff, but it's a really, really nice place. You like it a lot. But yeah, no matter where you are, usually they have float centers all across the United States. And so and even in Europe, and other places around the world. So it was really an amazing experience. My first two floats, I was fine. My third one, I remember I completely freaked out, and I'm not even sure what happened, but I think maybe some of that anxiety or whatever that was kind of deeply rooted was coming up, and I had to kind of open the pod and get out for a second and catch my breath, and then I was able to get back in. And then after that, every time since then, I've been fine. So I haven't done it in a while, so I'm anxious to start back. Before, like, it was like a challenge, kind of like with my hair, black girl problems, but my hair is kind of natural now, and it's still kind of, it's warm, and it is natural, it's warm, so I can wash it every day and it not be a problem, which is one reason I wanted to hurry up and get this 30-day challenge in before the winter, because I don't kind of want to be going out with wet hair when our Michigan winters get really, really cold. So look out for that. I'll post when I start, maybe Monday or Tuesday. So check, you can follow the website, thegirlfriendgatherings.com, and I'll put that link in the comment box. And this is on Facebook, guys. That's the website. And I'll also put it in the comment box so you guys can get to it. But yeah, it's a really amazing experience. I highly, highly recommend it, for anyone who hasn't tried it yet, because it's really an amazing experience. So I'll definitely be chronicling that. And so my goal for the whole 30 days is to kind of flood my body with nutrients and minerals and vitamins. And so I'm always low on magnesium. My doctor has me taking the pills, but they're just so big and ugh, I had a hard time. So I found my magnesium oil and I spray that on in the morning. So I know it'll be good for me doing the floating, because then it's 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt in there, and my body's absorbing the magnesium through the skin, which is even, all over, which is even better. And while I'm doing that, I am still with Be Young. For those of you who've following me a while or come to the classes that I was doing back in 2011, 2012, a lot of the natural products and stuff that we made, I would use Be Young for the essential oils part. I am a distributor with the company. I know the owner, Dana. He's wonderful. I really trust him and his integrity and just his quality of oils. So he's the only company I use for my oils, because I still am an aromatherapist. Like, you can actually see some of my oils here. This isn't even all of them. Since then, they've completely expanded, and to instead of known as Be Young Essential Oils, they're known as Be Young Total Health now. And he says what he was finding was that, um, when if people lacked nutrition, no amount of oils was really helping. So now he offers all kinds of things, related to health. I have actually been doing, they have a wonderful meal replacement, that I've been using and I absolutely love. And it's like a shake that I make in the morning for breakfast. And it's so fast and quick and light, and I can just make it and go. And that's what I like. I like, because I'm bad about eating breakfast because I leave out so early. It's hard for me to make sure I get it in, but that way I can get it in. It's full of nutrients, all plant proteins. It's vegan, gluten free. I just mix it with coconut milk, and I love it. He also has some vitamins, drinks that's full of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that I've been taking every day. Masagi. He's had Masagi out for years. Actually, when I first joined the company, it was because I loved the Masagi, but they've actually changed the formula of it and made it a lot better and added a lot more to it. And so I have been taking it every day. Again, just trying to flood my body with nutrients. Um, and so I'm going to chronicle that journey as well, because now that I am healthy, I want to kind of get this weight off that I have put on the past few years when I wasn't healthy. And so I've been walking. One of my parks isn't too far from here that I love, that has it's got a really great trail, and I've been walking and doing yoga. My doctor still has me keeping it light. He's like, no long drawn out hard cardio, but I will try to do like a quick hit workout, like for 15 minutes. And I don't do it every day, but maybe 2 or 3 times a week, because my cortisol levels are still really, really high for my adrenal glands, kind of overworking. So my doctor wants me, he's like, light cardio only. He's still particular about that. And I'm very lucky because my doctor is like, he's more on the holistic side. He's an MD, but he's on the holistic side. And when I first went to him a couple years ago, I was on 9 medications. I was like, I'll never forget, I was like 33. And and I was on 9 medications. And he was like, "You are entirely too young to be on this much stuff." And he got me off everything. I don't take any prescription medications now, just supplements and, vitamins. So cause back then I had medicine from my primary doctor who I went to before him, my neurologist, and my gastroenterologist. And it just added up. Seemed like every time I went, they had me on something else. And then my psychologist as well. So it was just a lot. So yeah, I've been doing really well. I spent last year, I really worked to like detox my liver, as I found out um, when you take vitamins that are synthetic or have synthetic ingredients in them, all of that stuff gets stored in your liver. So that's another reason I switch and not only take B Young vitamins now. But I'll post the link for them as well in case anybody wants to check it out. Yeah, I really love them, the company. I really trust them. And Dana's integrity is like impeccable. And he only makes sure that he gives great products to people. And money is not a driving factor for him. He really wants to help people. So I just adore him. And I'm so grateful to have been introduced to the company back in 2011. And I'm grateful they expanded their line so I can do even more stuff with them. So, but anyway, I'll post the link to that as well. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I've been doing. So that's why I decided not to have a guest today and to just talk about it myself, because some of you know me from years ago when I used to do the events and stuff in person before, but I know a lot of my followers are new, and I just kind of wanted to let you know a little bit about my journey. So that was kind of all I had for today. If you guys have any questions, you can put it in the comments, or feel free to DM me on Facebook or Instagram. Or it is a contact us page on the website. If you're on Facebook, I put the link in. Instagram, I'll put it on later. And so that was all I wanted to say. Next week, we'll have another guest on because we're continuing Self Love Saturday for September. Self Love all month. And again, that's from Louise Hay. She found out that if you just learn to love it and accept yourselves, all your perceived problems will take care of themselves. And I found that to be true as well. So we'll continue to support you on your journey. Continue to check out the website. We're still updating, still adding things. Be putting more services on there, more products. But I'm going to stay in touch with you guys. And I want to thank you all for joining and checking me out. And again, just let me know if I can be of assistance in anything. I'll talk to you guys again next week. Take care.